We're talking about light and fast. We're talking about the Brooks Hyperion 2. Welcome back to the channel. I am Cody with the Shoe In With Cody, and today we got ourselves a good one. We are talking about the Brooks Hyperion 2. Had this shoe for a little while now. I've been racking those miles and I'm in marathon training, and you know I've been putting this shoe through the ringer. Now before I talk about the good, the bad, and the verdict, if you should buy this shoe, I do need to point one thing out. This shoe was provided to me by Brooks, but they have no idea what I'm going to say in this video, and they have no opinion on any of my content. Now before, again, I dive into all that goodness, I got a favor to ask you. Hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. You know you want to. Costs you absolutely nothing, but it definitely helps the channel. Now let's sit back, relax, and let's talk about the Brooks Hyperion 2. Because I'm a positive guy, I'm going to talk about the positives first, and there's definitely a lot to like about this shoe. And the first one, and probably the most notable one, this might be one of the lightest running shoes that I've tried in a long time. This thing, not only does it say it's light on the scale, but on foot, it is extremely light. The other thing I really enjoy about this foam is the DNA Flash. It's that nitrogen infused foam. It's nice. It is fast. It is responsive. It just feels really good underfoot. Now, one thing to point out, there's not a lot of this. The foam is fantastic, but it's definitely on that minimal side. So if you're a minimal runner and you don't want too much stack, yeah, I think you're going to love what the shoe is all about. The DNA Flash, again, comfortable, fast. It's definitely responsive. It's definitely hitting a lot of check boxes for me. It just doesn't have the most foam I've seen. You might want to go to the Hyperion Max 2 if you're looking for more foam. This upper, I can't say enough about it. Might be one of my favorite uppers. The tongue is a great lockdown. It's partially gusseted on one side, but the upper is just great lockdown, and it feels like that old school racer upper to me. So if you have, it's a little bit snug, but not too snug where it's uncomfortable. Great lockdown, and really just, I don't know, all I can say is it just gets the job done. And as I mentioned, the tongue is partially gusseted on one side. It has some pads, but nothing too crazy, but it gets the job done. This shoe, I'm going to put in a couple different categories: daily trainer and speed day shoe. I've really enjoyed this as a daily trainer when I'm going that like 8:30-ish pace, a little bit less. Felt really comfortable there. And I also like this dropping the hammer. I use this for a bunch of repeats when I did 4x800s or 400s. This felt really, really good when I was picking the pace up, going in that 610 to 610 or 615 pace. It got the job done. One thing to note, there's no plate in this, so this is just that DNA Flash goodness getting the job done. Again, to me, this feels like an old school racer. Lower to the ground, not much stack right there, kind of a snugger upper, but it just gets the job done. So if you're looking for a shoe for daily miles that does not high stack, you're not into the high stack, you don't want a max cushion shoe, you want foam that you can use for speed day, yeah, I think the Hyperion 2 definitely answers that bell. I really like what Brooks doing. I like the looks, I like the performance. It definitely knocks it out of the park. With the good, you do know there has to be some bad. And the first one, it's just a preference. I need to point out, this is as minimalist of a shoe I'm getting these days. If you don't like ground feel, do not buy this shoe. I'm telling you right now, you get a ton of ground feel. It doesn't bother me because I don't mind ground feel. But if you're a person that says, I want all the cushion in the world, Cody, just buyer beware. There's just not a lot of cushion in here, and I fear you would hate it because you do feel the ground. Again, not an issue for me, but I need to point that out. The other thing is, and I've mentioned this a couple times in my first initial review and now, it feels like a race-like upper. It's snug. Now, it worked for my foot. I have a wide-ish foot. I think if you have a wide foot, I don't think this shoe is going to work. I think you're going to be uncomfortable. If you don't like snug shoes, I don't think this shoe is going to work for you. Again, I have a wide-ish foot. I had no issues at all. But I got to emphasize that if you have wide-ish feet, be careful. You might want to try this one on before you purchase it. I mean, honestly, for all the things that I like about it, there's only a couple of things I don't. It has to be the minimalist, again, if you're not into that, and the snugness of the shoe. Not a deal breaker for me, but those are the two, honestly, it for me. That's it. Because I do think the Hyperion 2 answers the bell on a lot of things, but it depends on your preference. And if your preference is max cushion, more roomier upper, this might not be for you. So you heard the good and you heard the bad. Now you want to know, should you buy this shoe? And I have two answers. If you hate ground feel, don't buy this shoe. If you need a roomier upper, do not buy the shoe. For everybody else, buy this shoe. It is really nice. If you're looking for a shoe that's lower to the ground, you can use it for speed workouts, you can get daily miles in. This shoe I just really enjoyed. Again, I'm in marathon training, so I'm doing a lot of daily miles, recovery day miles, and speed work. If you're looking for a shoe to do daily miles in and speed work, it definitely answers the bell for that. Not using this for recovery miles, and for me personally, it doesn't have enough stack to go long distance, but hey, some of you might like that. Some of you like that old school racer. I feel like my coach, Seth from Run BMT, is all about that. So again, if your preference is lower to the ground, this shoe is probably going to knock it out of the park for you. The biggest highlight for me has to be the foam. There's no plate in it, and it feels freaking fast. So the Hyperion 2 by Brooks, if you're in the camp of not a wide foot, and you don't like hate, and you don't need a super max shoe, this definitely knocked it out of the park, and this is definitely a shoe I'm going to continue to keep in the rotation, especially as I finish my training. You've heard the good, you've heard the bad, and you've heard my verdict on the shoe. Now I want to hear from you. Have you tried the shoe? Do you like the shoe? Do you love the shoe? Do you hate the shoe? Let me know. Drop a comment down below. Also, let me know if there's any other questions you have about the shoe. Let me know. I want to make sure I answer all of the questions. Thanks for checking out this review. Hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll see you all out on the run.